Hey y'all! I miss y'all so much, but I'm so excited to be teaching your lesson today about the lunar cycle. So let's jump into it. All right. Today is Wednesday, May 15th. And yesterday we reviewed on how Earth's rotation on its axis creates night and day, and how Earth's tilt and its revolution around the sun creates seasons. Well, today we're going to be talking about the moon and reviewing the sequence of the lunar cycle. Let's review our objectives for today. Scientists, today you will be able to differentiate between phases of the lunar cycle, and you will also be able to predict the sequence of events in the lunar cycle. Now, before talking about the 8 phases of the lunar cycle, let's review on why the moon has phases. So like the Earth's revolution and tilt create seasons, the moon's position and its revolution around the Earth creates the 8 different phases of the moon each month. So it takes about 29 to 30 days for the moon to complete this lunar cycle. So it takes about 15 days from the new moon to transition into a full moon, and about 15 days for this full moon to transition into the new moon. Let's take a look at these 8 phases sped up a little bit. And it's important to know that the light that we're seeing is a reflection of the sun's light. The moon does not produce its own light. So let's watch again and notice we're starting with our new moon. 15 days later, we had our full moon. 15 days later, we ended with our new moon. So now that we know the moon's position and its revolution around Earth is what creates the phases in the lunar cycle, let's look at our 8 phases. The first phase in the lunar cycle is the new moon. For me, the new moon is the easiest phase to map out on a picture, a model, or a diagram because it sits directly in front of the sun. So from Earth, the new moon appears to be dark because the side reflecting the sun's light is facing away from Earth. The new moon, here in our cycle, lasts for one night and one night only before transitioning to the next phase, which is a waxing crescent. Waxing means light on the right. Yes, anytime you hear waxing, light on the right. Waxing equals light on the right. So a waxing crescent has light on the right side in a crescent shape. So it can be a small, like kind of a sliver of a crescent. This is probably like day 1 or 2 of a waxing crescent phase. This is more like day 4 or 5 of a waxing crescent phase. But less than half the moon is lit. So this phase starts the night after the new moon and will last for about 6 to 7 days. In the waxing phases, light is added to the moon. So after 6 to 7 days in the waxing crescent phase, the moon transitions into the first quarter. In the first quarter, the moon is half lit and the light is on the right side. And it's between the waxing phases, the phases that add light. And our first quarter only lasts for 1 day. I hope that we are noticing a pattern here that will help us, guys, especially on the questions you need to predict the sequence of the lunar cycle. Our new moon lasts 1 day. Waxing crescent lasts 6 to 7. Our first quarter lasts 1 night. We can predict about how long our waxing gibbous is going to last. About 6 to 7 days. Yes. So these transitions from a new moon to first quarter to full moon to last quarter back to new moon, they take about 6 to 7 days. So our crescents and our gibbous are always going to last about 6 to 7 days. So let's keep that in mind. So for 6 to 7 days after the first quarter, the moon is in the waxing gibbous phase. In this phase, more than half of the moon is lit on the right side. But it's not all the way lit. It's still adding light to get to a full moon. So now for 1 night, our moon is fully lit. And we call this the full moon. When the moon is full, it is on the opposite side of the sun, fully reflecting all of the sun's light. So now that the moon is fully lit for just one night, it transitions into the waning phase. The phases that take away light. The light is waning away, it's going away. So after the full moon, the moon enters the waning gibbous phase. How long does the waning gibbous phase last? It will last 6 to 7 days. Great job, guys. In this waning gibbous phase, the light is on the left and more than half is lit. As gradually there is less and less light on the moon, it enters the last quarter phase, sometimes called the third quarter phase. So in the last quarter, how long does this phase last? If you said one night, I am snapping to agree. You guys are killing it. In this last quarter, it only lasts for one night. The moon is half lit on the left side. Think last left, last left. So after the third quarter, the moon enters the waning crescent phase for the next how many days? Yeah, 6 to 7. We have got this pattern down. Crescents, gibbous, 6 to 7 days. New moon, full moon, quarters, 1 day. Great job, guys. So in this waning crescent phase, the light is gradually waning away on the left side in a crescent shape, and less than half of the moon is lit. And as that light keeps waning and waning away, we are repeating our cycle. We are back to our new moon. And we're back to our new moon for one night. And then our waxing crescent with the light growing on the right side for 6 to 7 days. Then our first quarter is half lit on the right for 1 day. And repeat and repeat and repeat. And we have got the lunar cycle down, guys. So, please, oh my gosh, every time. Please refer back to this graphic organizer as you need to. And if it's easier for you to understand the cycle kind of on a number line, feel free to refer to this graphic organizer as well. And you can clearly see the pattern that we noticed in our length of nights that the moon is in that phase. So our new moon, 1 night. We got our crescent, gibbous, crescent, 6 to 7 nights. And then our new moon, full moon, and our quarter moons all last for 1 night. Now, we are going to complete a couple of worked examples together or just one worked example together using our Ruby strategies. But first, let's complete a speed round testing our knowledge of the lunar cycle using this cool simulation. All right, guys, I am going to click run animation, and you are going to tell me what phase the moon is in. Be sure that you are paying attention to the position the moon is in and its revolution around Earth compared to the sun. All right, let's do it. Speed round, go. All right, what phase is the moon in here, Lilybeth? Yes, Lilybeth told me waning gibbous. Snap if you agree. Yes, I do agree with that. How did you know, Lilybeth? She told me that the light is on the left and more than half of it is lit up. Yes, it is a waning gibbous. Let's keep going. I'm not going to stop it. Oh, and Rubicel, you have 3 seconds to shout out what phase the moon is in here. Go. 1, 2, 3. And Rubicel told us waxing crescent. Snap if you agree. Yes, how did you know, Rubicel? Rubicel told us he knew that is a waxing crescent because the light is on the right. It is in a crescent shape and less than half of the moon is lit. That is a waxing crescent. Let's do 2 more. All right, Kenya, can you please predict what phase the moon will be in next? This one is a little tricky, Kenya. So it's kind of looking like the moon is in the first quarter, right? It's halfway lit up. The light is on the right. So we can say that the next phase that the moon is definitely going to be in is our waxing gibbous. We could maybe say this is our waxing gibbous phase as well. because it looks to be a little more than half. So if this was our waxing gibbous phase, what would be the next phase, Kenya? Kenya told me full moon. Let's see if she's right. She is correct. Great job, Kenya. Let's do one more, guys. Miguel, be ready because I'm going to call on you. All right, Miguel, please tell me what phase the moon is in here. Miguel said new moon. How did you know? Yes. OMG, perfect, Miguel. He said that you can clearly tell this is a new moon because it's right in front of the sun, and it's going to look dark from the earth because the side reflecting the sun's light is facing away from earth. Great job on that speed round, guys. All right, guys, now that we proved we're able to differentiate between phases of the lunar cycle using our simulation, let's jump into our worked example using our Ruby strategies to predict the sequence of the lunar cycle using a calendar. All right, two friends want to go on a hike when there is a full moon in July. Keyword there, so I am underlining it. If there is a third quarter moon on July 2nd, I am underlining third quarter moon, think last quarter moon, and I am writing down everything I know about it. I'm going to draw a quick picture of the moon half lit with the light on the left side, and I'm writing down that it only lasts one night, and I know it's between those waning phases. I'm also going to underline July 2nd so that I know when the third quarter moon is occurring here. What is the approximate date of the next full moon? I'm underlining full moon once again, and I'm going to write down everything I know about it, including drawing a picture of the moon fully reflecting the sun's light, and it only lasts for one night. Now, anytime I have a question about the lunar cycle, I think back to my graphic organizer and I draw it. So getting into the habit of drawing this will help you with pretty much every and any problem you will encounter about the lunar cycle, guys. So now that we've written down our graphic organizer, written down all the information we know, we've underlined our keywords, let's figure out what the question is asking us. So the question is basically asking us, what is the date of the next full moon? Or what is the date of the full moon in July? What is the date of the full moon in July? So it's basically asking us to calculate how many days it will take for the moon to transition from a third quarter moon to a full moon. And we're going to start by plotting our third quarter moon, light on the left, on July 2nd. So if we need to calculate how many days it's going to take the moon to transition from a third quarter to a full moon, we need to write down what information we know about that. We noticed a pattern earlier of how many days it takes each phase to happen. What was our pattern that we noticed? Well, we already have it kind of written down here. We know that full moons, new moons, and we wrote it here, quarter moons, last for how many nights? One night. And our crescent and gibbous moons, what was our pattern there? How many nights do they last? 6 to 7 nights. In total, this process takes about 29 and a half to 30 days. So now, using this information, we can answer our question pretty easily. So let's get to it. What is our phase after our last quarter, Gianluca? Gianluca said waning crescent. That light is waning away, and I am snapping to agree. So we're going to place our waning crescent. And how many days does a waning crescent last? It does last for 6 nights. We're going to count that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The last day of our waning crescent would be July 8th. What is the phase after our waning crescent? That light is going away. It's fully dark. Yes, Jaylene, it is a new moon. So we're going to place our new moon. And we can check ourselves and see that the new moon is happening about a week after the last quarter. And that is correct. So what happens after the new moon? Our light is growing on the right. It is a waxing crescent. How long does our waxing crescent last? 6 to 7 days. So we'll go ahead and plot that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What comes after our waxing crescent? It is the first quarter. Our light is on the right. Our moon is halfway lit up. Now, does our first quarter last for more than one night? 6 to 7 nights? It does last for one night. So what is our next phase? That light keeps growing and growing. It's more than halfway lit up. It is a waxing crescent. Oh, sorry, a waxing gibbous. And our waxing gibbous lasts for 6 to 7 nights. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What happens next? What is our next phase? After our waxing gibbous, we do have our full moon. So now we've done it using our graphic organizer and our pattern for how long each phase lasts. We have found that the next full moon in July will happen on July 23rd. And we can go in and check ourselves. So here we can see we have our last quarter. A week later, we have a new moon. About another week later, we have our first quarter. And another week later, we have our full moon. Great job on that, guys. Let's just go ahead and underline our correct answer. You guys did a great job at differentiating between different phases of the lunar cycle and predicting the sequence of events on a calendar. Now we're going to jump into our independent practice. So when I say go, you will press next, complete the remaining questions in the Google form, and click submit when you are finished. Please come back to the video to reference those graphic organizers if you need to, and I highly recommend using some scratch paper. Thank you guys for visiting my channel and watching my lesson. I miss y'all again, and feel free to email me or Miss E if y'all have any questions. Take care, guys. Bye.